Listening is not so much an action or an activity as it is a heart posture. A posture that says to the one speaking, I hear you, and I want to respond in a way that you know you've been heard. To touch a life, you want to listen for at least one of three things. You want to listen to learn something about the person, learn something about the situation, learn something about the subject that's being discussed, or learn something about God Himself. You'd be amazed at the ways that God reveals things that we might discover in the heart and in the context of someone else's story. Ask questions about things that you don't know and articulate what you have learned in that space. This has been an interesting conversation. I didn't know that. Fill in the blank, or however that may work for you. But listen to learn something. When people feel like you've learned something from what they've shared, that's empowering and that's a value that touches them, even in the midst of whatever it is that they may be sharing with you. So one, listen to learn. But two, listen to obey. Oftentimes, God can give us commands, things to do, things that He desires for us to do to serve Him, serve that person, or serve some other aspect of that story in the context of someone else's story. And so we've got to be listening for, Lord, how might I serve you, this person, or someone else in the context of what I'm hearing? That was the case recently when I had a wedding and an individual was calling. She was simply sharing the challenges that she had in her mind. She was venting her frustrations with things that weren't working. And my simple question in each one was, would you like me to do this? Would you like me to do that? And each time she said, sure, if you would be willing to do that, I would really appreciate it, but I may not need you to. And I simply responded, you know what? Just let me know. And if you need me to, I'll be more than happy to do it. Each one, God worked out. I didn't have to do anything. I prayed with her. And every time I called and was like, how was this? Her response was, God worked that out. Well, how was this? God worked that out. How was this? God worked that out. And so I ended up not having to do anything at all. But the fact that I listened to her from a heart posture that said, I'm prepared to obey and serve and respond to needs that are expressed in the conversation, touched her life in ways that simply acknowledging that she had problems never could or would have. We listen to learn, and we listen to obey so that we might respond to needs that arise. Doing so will indeed touch a life as well. Lastly, we listen to understand. To understand someone is to hear what they are saying, to the point where you can pray for them differently. You can speak about them and their situation differently. You can articulate and guide them in directions, or share thoughts that you might not have been able to share when you understand where the person is coming from. It's this space where you simply share either I know what you are going through, share how that message relates to you. I'll give an example. Same wedding, which is interesting. I started to use this wedding for an example of all three ways of listening, because while I spoke with the bride and she was sharing things that weren't working, and I offered up an ear unto obedience, what way can I serve you? There was another member of the bridal party who was calling and was simply sharing her frustrations with all of the things that weren't going right, but she was seeking to be a good friend in the context of all that was not going right. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to respond and say, well, would you like me to do this, or would you like me to do this? She simply needed someone to understand what it's like to be a friend supporting another friend who's difficult to support in that moment. They know that tomorrow it'll be okay. They know that that's not this person's disposition, but that doesn't make it easy to bear someone's bad mood or bad attitude for a particular moment. I articulated that, and I articulated the value of her being a friend in that moment, because it's one thing to have a friend when things are going well, but as the old adage says, a friend in need is a friend indeed. I articulated the value of her friendship. She appreciated that. I simply listened and expressed an understanding of what it was like to be in her space and in her shoes. In doing so, I touched a life. Oak Valley Baptist Church family and friends, when we say we want to touch a life by listening to someone, we want to listen, but listen with a heart posture that responds accordingly to what the person needs so that they know they've been heard. And to do that, we must listen to learn, listen to obey, and listen to understand. God bless you. As always, we love you. Absolutely nothing you can do about that.